that, and this extends beyond real estate, it's just business in general. When you're dealing with people, right? As long as you can provide a value prop and they can return that favor, it's a good relationship, right?
It's funny that you say that, right, Lawrence? Like, I think more and more people are talking about it now, that you need to think about your real estate investing portfolio. And when you're investing into real estate as a business, most people are not actually doing it, though, in my opinion, right? They're not actually running it like a business.
No, they're not.
To the point where, like, look, if you have an income property and a frat house, you know what I'm saying? Student housing, whatever it is, a small little condo that you rent out. And when shit breaks, the AC or the heating or the stove or whatever it is, right? Some people get so scared that they don't do it again, rather than thinking about it like, okay, look, just like a business, there's internal theft, there's external theft. Friggin' Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart doesn't shut down their operation when shit happens. You know what I'm saying? Like they actually budget for these things. Yeah,
exactly. But that's a learned skill.
Right.
And I feel like anyone that gets started in real estate, unless you approach it with a pure business mind from the start, it always just kind of starts as a pet project, right? You dip your toe in and you're just looking for that next step. You're like, okay, I just purchased that condo. My next goal is to find a tenant. And then you take one step at a time. And then you sort of realize that as you continue to do this, it scales in a certain way. And so your next project, you're already thinking about the next 5 steps. So what I learned on my first student house, I was able to apply effectively to the frat house. And it made that much, much easier than if that was my first foray into real estate, right?
And now, and then you mentioned you went into like duplexes and triplexes and stuff
so
like that.
I got a duplex here in Toronto as well. I was lucky to get in the market before prices took off the way they did. I've had it for about 9 years now.
Nice.
Much different beast.
It's 4 times more what you bought it for.
Yeah, for sure.
Effectively.
The napkin math works.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But yeah, completely different beast, much less of my time commitment, which is awesome. But yeah, definitely taken the lessons learned and scaled them into something comparatively much easier.
Now, so when did the shift happen into, okay, now I'm going to work with like a Graybrook and we're going to talk about all things, that's what Equiton's up to and stuff like that. But when did that happen? And how did that happen?
Yeah, for sure. So I've got a bit of a different path. So I have a finance degree, classic banker. I graduated from my undergrad and went to work at a big bank, building financial models day after day. I hated my job. It was so mechanistic, same thing day after day. And it got to the point where it was showing. And so I said, look, I have this existing side hustle of real estate. I'm seeing success in it. Mm-hmm. It's a thing I understand. I'm passionate about. I'm able to grow it efficiently. I want to pivot full into it. And that's when I took a job at Graybrook. And from there, I felt right at home. So not only am I'm just doing what I love, honestly. Yeah. And that's such a cliche statement to make, but I was doing it on both ends. So not only had a good job for myself, earning a salary and all that good stuff, but I'm helping other people achieve their goals with real estate, right? Whatever that may be. Maybe it's cash flow, maybe it's long-term growth, but whatever it is, I'm a piece of that puzzle for them, right?
Right. And you said it's cliche, and yeah, it is, but it's cliche for a reason because it works and it's true. Like if you find, and this is for all the kids, right? Like if you find something that you actually enjoy doing, and I think like it's not just enough to enjoy what you're doing. You got to have some talent. Like you got to be good at it. You got to work at it. Right? And you got to work at it. If you can mix those two things, I think you're hitting grand slams all the like. That's when the money follows.
Yeah.
You know, and I know like when I speak about this stuff like on Instagram and on TikTok and shit, I get some heck sometimes like, dude, it's all this stupid positive shit that you're always talking, Jazz. But look, they want to know how do they get rich quick, right?
But you don't go there without starting with the foundation, and that's the foundation.
100%. And you don't chase money. Like that's not the way that it works. Like I'm sorry to break it for people. The second you stop chasing money, it will actually start to follow you, because when you put in those extra hours of work, you enjoy it, so you'll inevitably put in the extra hours in the morning and in the evening. You're going to bring so much value to the marketplace that the marketplace rewards you by paying you.
The success is the byproduct.
100%.
And that's all it is. And another thing I realized, you got to be, look, talk about passion is great, and it's true. because especially in a people business, right? Like my job every day is helping clients achieve their financial goals through whatever little way I can. And I'm sure yours is very much the same way, albeit a little different. But sooner or later, when the rubber meets the road, if you're disingenuous, if you're in it for the money, if you don't have a passion for what you do, people aren't going to listen to you. It comes across sooner or later. You can only fake it till you make it for so long.
For sure.
And so you need to have some type of foundation, some passion behind it.
People start smelling that shit, right?
They do.
They do. They know that you have commission breath. You won't treat your customers and your clients like. I mean, Lawrence, I don't know how much you know about my backstory, but sales and service for me has been everything that I've done. It's been 28 years now, and like that's what I've studied. I didn't go to school after high school. I barely passed high school, but what I did is that I just learned about all the businesses that I possibly could, spoke to like business owners. It's why actually this podcast started originally. It's purely from a selfish perspective. Like I just want to learn like, hey, I want to learn more about Lawrence, but I also want to learn about what he's doing well, and then I'm going to try to make use of it, right? Find out some stories that maybe didn't go well for you. All right, make sure that I stay away from it. Let all these guys and gals be kind of fly on the wall. And what I've come to learn in business is that if you treat everyone with respect, you actually exceed their expectations. And the way to do that is just by asking. And then the third part is that if you actually think long-term from not only the client's perspective, and that's important, but I think people forget to think of like at it from your own perspective. Like your business will not stay in business if you're just giving away a product or a service at like, less than cost. Like that just doesn't make it doesn't make sense on the P&L, right?
You can do it for a month, you can do it for a year, but sooner or later
you just won't have the longevity, right? So you got to think from both your perspective long term as well as the clients. And again, I mean, Greybrook and Equiton, that the relationship that we've had with Equiton now is going on to I think about like 4 or 5 years, coming up to like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And I mean, my clients love it. So then you're at Greybrook. And then you're like, okay, I want to make the shift over to Equiton. Why that shift?
Yeah, that's another great question. Look, at the end of the day, I was very, very happy at Greybrook. I'm a staunch supporter of Greybrook, both as an employee. I loved my time there, and as an investor. I still hold my Greybrook investments. I love my Greybrook investments. I've done Greybrook investments after I'd left, and that'll speak credence to how 100%. I feel about them.
Yeah.
So I was naturally hesitant when I was contacted by Equiton to potentially come on board. And so the first thing I did was my due diligence, because to our earlier conversation, if I don't believe in what this company is doing or what this team is doing and the vision they have and how they approach their work, how they approach their clients, I'm not going near it, right? I don't want to put my name on it, and I'm not going to like what I do. And so I did my homework. They interviewed me, but I interviewed them 100 times over. And I popped the hood, I checked out what the goods are, and I said, you guys are doing something here. I want to be a part of this. There was this younger company when I first joined with a ton of runway, a ton of growth. They were scaling at a very fast pace. And I said, that's exciting to me. I'm behind what you guys are doing. I want to be a part of it. And the decision really pretty much came down to that.